The only words that I can really think of following this is leading up to this concert. You play it in your head, you're envisioning it, you're thinking about jumping to Enter Sandman, you're thinking about them coming to Lane Stadium, you're thinking about what the crowd looks like. And so many times when you do that, when you set yourself up, you're always setting yourself up for a letdown. And it was the first time where the actual event was 100 times better than the way that you had concocted it in your brain.
I mean, I think I speak for so many people. Like, it is a literal dream come true. And at the same time, it's so much bigger than what we could have dreamed for it to be. Like, I don't think this was really viewed as a realistic possibility for so long. And then when it finally materialized, it's like you said, like, there's no way it's going to live up to it. There's no way. And then it did. Every part of it did. And it was a very like borderline spiritual experience for people who have been Metallica and Virginia Tech fans for our whole lives to have that. And it was beyond any of my wildest dreams. Unbelievable.
I'm joined with Sam, Jesse, and Brett Smith. We're going to get a couple of different perspectives here. I am an appreciator of Metallica coming into the concert. Brett and Sam are probably the two biggest Metallica fans that I know in my life. I was in section 126. They were in the pit. But Brett, just share with me your first thoughts after Metallica at Virginia Tech.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of said, over, almost my whole life, I've been jumping up and down to Metallica at Lane Stadium. And to actually see them there is, it's hard to describe. We'll get into it, but I talk, when I posted my, on Instagram, what I saw, I couldn't come up with a caption. That's what my caption was. I said, trying to come up with a caption would be a disservice to what we witnessed that night. So that's kind of how I feel. We'll get into it, obviously, a little bit more in the details of how the day went, but yeah, it's hard to put into words. Really, it is.
So we might be a little all over the place with this one. I still can't believe this is an actual thing that happened. But I think a good place to start here would be just the spectacle and the setup. First of all, I want to tip my cap to Brad Worthman, the athletic department, the university. And I say this with all due respect. Going into it, my expectations for the concert were high. My expectations for everything else were pretty low. Getting into the stadium, what the town's going to look like, everything else. And granted, town was packed, but it went about as flawless as you can possibly imagine, given the circumstances that this town was under. And Sam, I know that's the first thing that you said when I called you.
The first thing I said was this was the most well put on event in Virginia Tech history, for sure. Like, everything about it was pretty flawless. There was a lot of people, but it was so easy to get in. Once you were in the stadium, it was great. Yeah, there were long beer lines and the bathroom line took 30 minutes, but there was a lot of people, right? About 10,000 more people than what are normally there for football games. It was like a SEC football game, but for music. And it was put on so flawlessly and seamlessly. Everything was perfect about it. I didn't expect that part of it. I thought it was going to be kind of a cluster getting in. I thought it was going to be like kind of a mess inside. I didn't really know what the security situation was going to be like with having floor seats, but it was flawless.
Yeah, I agree. When we went in the pit going through the tunnel, I was like, dude, there's no, how are all these people going to go through here? And I don't know. I'm like Sam, I'm just going to echo what he said. I think it couldn't have gone any better from a logistics standpoint. I thought they, the Steve Johnson field, I don't know if you got a chance to walk back there, Sam, but they had right by it, 75 bathrooms. And honestly, there was no line on that side. And the beer line over there wasn't that bad. So I think, people just didn't know where to go, especially because there was a lot of non-Virginia Tech people. So I think just in general, it went insanely well. I don't know what the concourse looked like.
They probably had 100 porta potties set up on the practice field. Yeah. And 100 is not they had 4 rows of 25. It was insane. Mm-hmm. that they were as set up as they possibly could have been for that number of people.
Yeah.
The
sure. You
concourse,
just got to also remember to Metallica is just a well-oiled machine. Everything.
Sure.
We'll get into that a little bit. It's just,
Oh, yeah.
but the logistics from the athletic side were really good.
Tremendous. I mean, look, it's a lot of people. There were a lot of people in the concourse, but in terms of, you said it perfectly, Sam. In terms of like, if you're comparing this to a game day, even given the circumstances, it was the cleanest event that Virginia Tech has ever ran. Not to nerd out here, but a couple of things that I did notice that made it go smoother. Getting into the stadium. So I went in right when Pantera was getting started, and the bump your phone to get in made everything go a million times faster. I was in the stadium after walking up to security in about 45 seconds. That was great. Getting out of the stadium, I don't know if they do this during game days, but they instituted contraflow. So traffic can only go in one direction to get out. I thought that was great. I got from getting to my car to getting to where I wanted to go, I was sitting in traffic for maybe 8 minutes. It was spectacular. So anyway, enough about logistics for right now. Let's just talk about some of the stuff that wasn't musical related. I was not prepared for this whatsoever. The production, the lights, the choreography, the videos that ran in between when they were moving the drummer from side to side was incredible. It was unlike anything that I have ever seen. And for it to happen in Lane Stadium was unbelievable. From a production standpoint, though, I'm assuming this is par for the course for Metallica, but it was flawlessly done.
Yeah, I actually have never seen them before until that time, which is crazy.
Oh,
but
okay.
I've watched a lot of shows, and I've been to just a lot of shows in my life.
Mhm.
I've gone to a
Sure.
lot of different rock and metal concerts, and so I would say I'm well versed in what production would look like.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think like I said a minute ago, they're a well-oiled machine. I mean, they have 87 tractor trailers that move that thing around. They have 40 if in lot 2 for anybody that was there. If you walk by, they had 40 or 50 of them staged there already. 30 of them about 20 minutes outside Blacksburg, ready to roll in at the end. If you looked on Instagram, Lars, the drummer, was posting some videos like of the post, I guess, the post the concert and some videos, and they already had like half the thing down in like an hour after the concert had ended. So I mean, it's just it's so pro. It's hard to I don't know if there's any sort of production that's more pro than that in this realm of music. Obviously, Taylor Swift, Lady Gaga, Sabrina Carpenter, all those people, obviously that's pro and they have things like this. But, for a band like this to do, this for as long as they have, I mean, there's a reason they're called the biggest band in the world. They sell the most tickets out of any band that's been going this long still. They sell the most merch. I mean, that's just a fact that why they're considered the biggest band in the world. And the production was top notch. I really enjoyed how they leaned into the Virginia Tech thing a lot. The Lane Stadium on I'll call them the spires on the screens before Metallica. And then obviously the entrance, which we'll get into. We talk about the set list, leaning into it a lot, was really impressed me. I did not think they were going to do that.
Yeah, they know what they're doing by this point. Like they're really, really good at designing a show. And this is the second one I've been to. I saw them at a festival, but they kind of just played for 45 minutes. You know how festivals you basically just walk onto the stage and walk off. But like the lighting, the videos, the way that they're a total no BS band. Like they get up there and they just play. They'll talk a little bit in between, but you're going to get 2.5 hours of like just music. And it's really, really sick. And you don't see that a lot. And every part of it, from when they walk up on stage to we'll get to the set list, but like which songs that they play first and why they play those songs first and what they end with. And the beach balls coming down during Seek and Destroy was electric. Those beach balls, by the way, are a lot heavier than they look. If you didn't get a chance to hit one, it was just like so much fun. And I have so many people who have never been to any sort of metal concert or any concert like that who are like, I never thought I would enjoy a show like that. And it was so much fun because they put it on so well. And because every single song that they played, like every one of them hit. Like we'll get to the set list, but that was they might never play that set list again. Like that was a special list of songs for this concert.
Couple things on what you guys just said. Number one, that I literally wrote this down in the in my section. I wrote down no bullshit. Like the they spoke when they spoke to the crowd, it wasn't eating up time. Like you see artists do that. And artists that I like, you're 45 minutes into the concert, and you're like, okay, they've played all these songs. They're probably going to take 15 or 20 minutes to just kind of, read signs and interact with people. They did it where every single thing that they said and every single thing that they did felt intentional. And you could just tell for them to be as old as they are, with all due respect, and play that hard for that long was tremendous. There was no dead air. On just some of the other things going on within the production of it, outside of Metallica, first of all, North End Zone was unbelievable. From what I understand, North End Zone was primarily consisting of just students. Anytime there was like a transition in between something or some, dead air shifting when they were moving the drums or anything, Let's Go Hokie chants were breaking out. They were stomping on the bleachers. Like they were great. Please do that on game day. Would love to see that, to see more of that on game day. But they were so great. And what I also noticed, I ran into so many people who, and this is why something like this would never happen again. There were so many people who knew nothing about Virginia Tech. I spoke to someone specifically who had never been to the state of Virginia, does not watch college football, does not know anything. And they said, I am here because I know that Metallica has a relationship with this football team. So this was on my bucket list to come to this specific concert. And it was so cool meeting so many people who are like, I've been to a dozen shows. I've been to 25 shows. I've been to, 50 shows. And to kind of tie that bow together, it is unbelievable how big Metallica is. Like for people who just may be familiar with Metallica through Enter Sandman or anything else, and for a large part, that was me. My dad made this comparison, and I think it's perfect. He said in the 80s, he was invited to go to a Kiss concert. He didn't listen to a lot of Kiss. He wasn't really familiar with a lot of Kiss. But if you have the opportunity to go, it is such an unbelievable spectacle and such an unbelievable thing to be a part of. Their music and their sound and their vibe instinctively makes you move your body. I knew maybe 20% of the songs, and I must have been bopping around the entire time. There's no boredom. There's no anything. And I went into this transparently saying, you know what? Like, I'm going to buy this ticket. I'm excited to go. I'm excited to go for Enter Sandman. It'll be pretty cool. And I left it saying that is absolutely, bar none, one of the best events I have ever been to, and absolutely the best event I have ever been to in Blacksburg, Virginia, which was not even on my smorgasbord of possibilities going into it.
Yeah, I definitely think too, you have so many people who like you said, like we're just Metallica fans coming to the show. I think you had a lot of people who had never heard another Metallica song or like really weren't into it, who were like, I know this is going to be a spectacle for me to see, or like my friend had a ticket and I came along with them and stuff like that. So it was really cool too, to have so many people who maybe didn't get it beforehand and like didn't understand how unique and special the connection was, who now get it. Like when Enter Sandman plays, I don't know, maybe they'll play it before the South Carolina game, but like when it plays against Vanderbilt, like there are going to be students in that student section or fans of that game who like, it's going to mean a little bit more too, because we had an article out on the site about when the tradition started and how it started. And it was very, almost serendipitous in the 2003 game against Miami. You're 20 plus years removed from that. So like none of the students were really a part of that. A lot of your fans really weren't a part of that. A lot of your recently graduated alumni weren't even part of that. So now you have this connection to that relationship that is going to like go on for generations. Like I was standing in the pit. I was right next to Brett, and there was like probably a 12-year-old kid beside us who was having the time of their life. Like it's going to be such a special moment for Hokies for so long. And I think that's maybe my biggest takeaway of all of this, other than like how well they ran everything, was like how important this is for that Metallica Virginia Tech relationship and that brand moving forward.
Yeah, I'll ask you guys a question. What percentage of Tech fans versus non-Virginia Tech, we'll say Virginia Tech people versus non-Virginia Tech people, do you think it was?
I know when I got my answer. because when I was walking around campus, I saw West Virginia hats. I saw an Oregon hat. I saw a Utah hat. Like I saw people who were making it very clear that they were not Virginia Tech fans. And I was like, wow, there are a lot of Metallica fans here, which I anticipated being the case. I actually thought that it would be, if not majority, like 50-50. And the moment for me where I was like, wow, I think it shocked Metallica, and it certainly shocked me when he said, let's go.
Let's go! Let's go! Let's go!
Which already I thought, I don't know if they're going to do that because I don't know how much of a buy-in they think they're going to get. And the entire stadium roared into Hokies. I was like, I'm blown away by how many Virginia Tech people are here. Now, look, there were a lot of people who were there who may not be familiar with Virginia Tech, but I think if you live in the state of Virginia or you're a college football fan, there are probably plenty of people who made this a priority to go. Sam, I'm curious of your thoughts.
Yeah, I'd say like I came into it and I was like 50-50 probably. I mean, this is a band who the nearest tour stop in a long time is probably Charlotte, maybe New York.
They've actually played Landover this year, which is like the first time they've played in Landover in a very long time because it sucks getting there and it's just not a fun place to play, but keep going.
So, yeah, I mean, you're talking about like a 5-6 hour radius around here that Metallica has never touched, really.
Mm-hmm.
And so for those people, this is like that once in a lifetime opportunity. And I also think it's I don't want to use this word in a like diminutive way, but almost like novelty show. Like they don't really do stuff like this. Like they don't do a midweek concert at a college football stadium. It's not, if you like look at the list of places they're playing, it's exclusively like worldwide metropolitan cities in the nicest, outdoor football or soccer stadium they can get. Like this is one of the
Rogers in Toronto. I mean, yeah.
This is one of the smaller stadiums that they're going to play on this tour. And so like this was like, I don't want to use her novelty because Brett, like we were talking about this, it felt a little bit like somewhat of a charity event from Metallica, like Metallica coming in and being like, okay, you've done this for 25 years and all. They put on like such a special show. And I think you did see these videos of them like really soaking it all in.
Yeah.
It does seem like
I think it was a bucket list. It was like a bucket list item for them. I think.
We are so grateful. We are so proud. We are so honored to come and rock your beautiful fucking stadium. Thank you for the last 2 days. Virginia Tech, Metallica fucking loves you. Thank you for letting us be part of your whole fucking vibe and aesthetic here. We love you. We will see you not soon enough. Thank you.
I think it really was. I wasn't really sure about the buy-in from them outside of being the Enter Sandman guys, and they've done like the videos in the past for Frank retiring. They did one, was it for the Clemson game?
Notre Dame.
Or Notre Dame. Notre Dame.
Mm-hmm.
So they've done some buy-in, so I'm like, all right, but you could just tell, like Sam said, I think this was a bucket list item for them to do because touring bands don't go up and down 81. There's nowhere on 81 to tour. It's just usually going up and down the mountains. It's the 95 corridor where most bands tour. So for them to really go out of their way like this was, like Sam said, I think it was a bucket list item for them. I think James, I think he echoed that on the stage a little bit. Obviously, like you said, they don't do a lot of that, but I think Sam nailed it on the head.
Yeah, I went into it kind of like you, Brett. I was like, it's really, because look, and I mean this with respect because I would have an ego too. James has an ego. That entire band has an ego because they are quite literally some of the biggest rock stars in the universe. And to see how much it meant to them to do that, when he took a minute and he said, I mean, it sends chills down your spine where he said, "We are so honored that you welcomed us into your house and we're playing in the Terror Dome." Like,
yeah, that was crazy. What he said, that was nuts.
Who told him about the Terror Dome?
It was
he did it. Yeah.
Oh.
He did it in one of the videos. I don't know if it was
Mm-hmm.
the Notre Dame video or the Frank video. He did it in one of those too. But you're right.
It was
that was crazy.
Completely euphoric. We're going to dive into the set list here. Let me go ahead and let me get this on the screen for everybody. One note as an aside, as we're looking at this right now. So I was texting with Brad Worthman, and I said the most underrated thing to me that happened at this concert was In Between Ecstasy of Gold and Creeping Death. Like, that variation of Enter Sandman that they did, where they played the extended chord, places going nuts. That was unbelievable. And Brett and Sam, you were talking about it. You said these are so choreographed for them to go off script would be extremely difficult. They're flashing Virginia Tech's logo. They play that intro, and Brad says, we had no idea they were going to do that. They didn't tell us they were going to do it. They didn't ask us for anything to do it. They didn't hint that they were going to do it. So that was a 100% driven by Metallica move to go ahead and do that. And man, Brad always said when we were leading up to this event, he said, we're going to blow the non-existent roof off of Lane Stadium. And for those first 4 songs, my jaw was on the floor the entire time. Like, the wall of sound that you're hit by, the sheer talent and the pounding in your chest. I mean, it felt like somebody was hitting you in the chest with a sledgehammer the entire time. It was unbelievable. But we can get into the set list now. I just wanted to point out that the Enter Sandman intro was preposterously awesome.
Yeah, and that's like what I said earlier. It was I did not think they were going to lean in that hard. I didn't. Sam probably feel the same way.
No, yeah. So, just so people know that the Ecstasy of Gold, you probably don't know the name of the song, but you definitely know it. It's from The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. They played it on the Modelo commercials. Metallica's played it to open up all of their concerts for a long, long time now. And they usually play the whole song, which is like 4.5 minutes, with clips from the movie. So for them to cut it off when they did is like, that took a lot of effort on their end to like change around the video, change around the sound, change around the lights. They're not going to do that for any other concert on this world tour. That was really, really cool. And then to play the like recording of Enter Sandman before they come up was insane. And then the first 3 songs are all from the Ride the Lightning album, which is normally what they start with. And you were talking about Billy Ray, like, oh my gosh, like immediately I was hooked into all of these songs. They play that album first because it is like, one, it's a lot of diehard Metallica fans' favorite album, but it is like, it grips you. It's so fast. It's so loud, but then it also is like super catchy, and you can kind of sing along to the chorus if you know the words. So like the way that they introed and then they went into those 4 songs was super, super cool.
Yeah, I think, Ride the Lightning, probably my favorite record. And, I like Sam said, it's most diehard Metallica fans' favorite record. It's the fastest. It's definitely like, if you want to get people off their feet and moving, that's the record you play, because the next 2 records after that are a little more like storytelling, a little more, I'll call it methodical, a little more technical. These are just like old school, in your face, let's get you up and moving songs. And again, they don't usually play those 3 songs together on, in a row. What they usually do is they'll play 2 of the 3. The set list that's ending with Enter Sandman outside of this show that they're doing, because everywhere they play, we didn't really talk about it earlier, but they usually do like a 2-day show. They do a Saturday or Sunday or Friday, Saturday in a city, and it's 2 different set lists. And so you either can go to both, see both set lists, or you go to one and you get one or the other. Usually 2 of those 3 are on one night and the other one's on the other. So to get all 3 in a row to come out the gate was incredible.
Well, also what was interesting, and we could talk about this now because it fits. I was looking at the set lists, and they were either ending with Master of Puppets or Enter Sandman. They weren't playing both of them. They were ending with one of the 2. And going in as a joke, I was like, I mean, it'd be pretty crazy for them not to play Enter Sandman. So when they're wrapping up and they did like a fake sign off, because they don't do encores. It's not really part of their spiel. And they say goodnight. They say goodnight again. And they say goodnight again.
Is y'all missing something? I think we're missing something. Yes.
It was such a unique and amazing moment. And the thing that made it so cool was the entire stadium it was almost like when you're in a basketball game and you miss your player misses a three to take the lead, or you miss a free throw to hold on to the lead, and the whole stadium, no, it was unbelievable. And then for them to rip into Enter Sandman, it was a literal, you said at the beginning, it was almost like a spiritual, that was truly a spiritual, moving, religious experience is what it felt like. I don't have words to describe what that felt like.
Yeah, I can't come up with any. So like it was so freaking awesome. Like
Yeah,
that was
and like before, and like you said, Bill, you're right. It's, they usually put Master Puppets or Enter Sandman. I was fully expecting them to do like the set list with that's ending with the Enter Sandman right now that they're touring. And I'll call it the rock block, which was the last 6 songs, was one of the most insane 6-song runs. I had people next to me that are Metallica fans saying they haven't seen them play those 6 songs in a row like that without putting some stuff in from like the later albums, like ever. Like, and they've seen Metallica dozens of times. Nothing Else Matters, Sad But True, 1, Seek and Destroy, Master Puppets, and Enter Sandman in a row is something they really, like, truthfully, do not ever do, because it's just not how they roll with these 2-day shows. So it was crazy. I don't know what to say. I mean, obviously Enter Sandman was awesome, but for me personally, seeing those 6 songs in a row was just, I couldn't believe it.
We'll call
I did
this.
not think we were going to get Nothing Else Matters in this set list. I did not think we were going to get that. So to get that one, to get like the ballad in there too, and then to go into like one of your heavier songs and Sad But True, and then to go into one of your bigger commercial hits in one, like that was really, really cool. And then it was just a party after that. Seek and Destroy is a really fun live, really, really fun song.
It felt like you get this very rarely in concerts, but in that last run of those like 6 songs, in your head when they're winding down a song, you're like, I hope this isn't Enter Sandman, because you don't want it to end. Like you were
That's
like,
exactly how it was. I was like, that's exactly what it was.
They were on such a heater, and I'll call this next segment Casual Corner, because again, I am glad to be a newly minted Metallica family member, which I appreciate. James Hetfield knighting everybody at the concert, but I will do some casual stuff here, and you guys can fill me in. First of all, Sam, you filled me in on the little riff that they were going to do with Kirk and Rob. I thought that was very, very cool. The line that they said was, it was so funny. He gets up there and he's like, "We're Metallica. We like to jam. So we're gonna jam." And they get up there and they played that. I thought that was tremendous. I have to say, I leave this concert also thinking their drummer is spectacular. The drums, the rate at which he is hitting the drums and how he is playing the drums is just unbelievable. That was one of them. Another one, and I don't know, you guys can tell me what song this was, but it was like a military theme, and they had like helicopter sounds going on, explosions on the stage. That was crazy.
That's one.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a crazy song. If you want to do anyone wants to do some further research into what that song's about, I highly recommend it. Yeah, one is a crazy song. And yeah, what's funny too is like, if you like, some people really don't like Lars as a drummer and they think he's like really simple, but what he's doing is playing like really amped up blues lines and like letting everybody else cook. And what you end up
Mhm.
getting is this like, it's not overly complex. Like he's not doing blast beats or anything back there, but he's setting it up for everybody else. And like every time he hits, you feel it. Like you actually feel it in your chest because it's so like timed out and stuff. And that's where you get really cool songs like Sad But True that are like pretty slow. They're actually pretty simple. You know, it's just some like simple power chords and drums, but it hits and it's really, really cool.
Yeah, I mean, Lars was always compared to the likes of their, peers of guys of like Charlie Benante, who's playing in Pantera right now with Anthrax, or Dave Lombardo, who played in Slayer, like, all these thrash bands back in the 80s, 90s. Their drummers were just, I mean, ballistic. I mean, you think, Billy, or you think these guys are fast? Like Dave Lombardo is one of the craziest drummers of all time. And he was just always victim of like the guy that really wasn't doing that, and so like Sam kind of said, he wasn't always viewed as the best drummer ever, but like his voicing, which is like the like what Sam said, which is the spacing in between the riffs, and it's simple but it's so effective. There's like a group that I always see. It's always called "And Justice for Lars." It's people that back Lars as a drummer, and so it's a he's incredible. The fact that he's still hitting as hard as he can and doing what he does at his age, with all due respect, is just insane.
Well,
Drumming's
also,
the hardest instrument to play by far.
Oh, yeah.
It's not even close.
With that, so really quick, you touched on Pantera. That's not the original Pantera band. It's the original vocalist and the original bassist, but the drummer is from Anthrax. The guitarist is Zakk Wylde, who's played with Ozzy Osbourne. His band currently, Black Label Society, that he does guitar and vocals for, is pretty big. And he's done a few other projects, but he's widely considered one of the best metal guitarists alive right now, and is pretty legendary. And so them getting that guitarist and that drummer to tour with like Pantera's list of songs that they can put was like, I was telling people, it was like the Golden State Warriors adding Kevin Durant. Like it's you're just like creating an all-star team and then opening that up for Metallica. Because like just that, those collection of musicians together is pretty insane. I was telling people next to me, it's like you're watching Mozart up there. Like he's the best at that to ever live. And that's really, really cool. That guy was playing in Lane Stadium.
Yeah, they did a really good job with the tribute stuff, because both brothers that started the band have passed away. So they did a really nice job on the tribute and all that also as well. So
a couple of things to wrap up Casual Corner. Number one, it was shocking how many songs, and Brett, you're completely right. They played a song and I was like, "Oh, this is Metallica." I had no idea. And it's the Guitar Hero and Rock Band effect.
Oh,
where you played these songs before, you've heard these songs before. They've been on commercials, they've been on movies or trailers,
video games, everything.
And you're like, "Oh, I didn't know that was Metallica. I didn't know this was Metallica. I didn't know this was Metallica," which was really, really cool. And then the other thing, just it's almost like what every kid dreams about is seeing somebody as much of a rock star as they are, to have the complete crowd at your fingertips for as long as he did. He had one moment where he was standing on about the 20-yard line on the home team sideline, and he just simply walked from one side of the stage to the other side of the stage to the other side of the stage. Everybody's going nuts. Everybody's going nuts. And then he's just like, "I like that a lot." And then ripped it into the next song. Like he's absolutely incredible. And also, I'm glad you guys brought it up. Pantera was great. I'll say this. There were probably a lot of parents who went because their kids were graduating that weekend. And I was sitting by a few of them. And Pantera would say some things in the middle of his song, and the parents would just look back and say, "What did he just say?"
Oh, yeah. I mean, they're a lot different. I mean, they're
not
quite literally used to be, they quite literally used to be like one of the heaviest bands in the world. So, I mean, they still
rock.
are. But
they certainly rock. I mean,
everybody's heard "Walk" at some point, but there are other songs. I was just excited to see them personally, just for a personal thing.
So for you guys, I want to talk a little bit about the pit. Again, I have frequented Noah Khan. I have frequented John Mayer. I have never seen a mosh pit before. I have heard about them. It was my first time seeing them. So just want to hear from you guys. Any battle scars? What was the pit like? Just how does it go? Wow, Sam with the fanfare.
Fireworks.
Brett, how was it? I hear that you came out. You're on the injury report this week.
Yeah. I still get in the mix a little bit here and there. I try to. Pantera kind of, brought it out of me for sure, more so than Metallica. Walked away. I don't know, something with my hand. It's actually a lot better today. But yeah, I mean, I'm not like downplaying like the show at all. But like those mosh pits, I mean, there's like several little ones around, the stage. The ones, if you want to watch some crazy videos, look at the ones in Metallica, like when they play like a festival. Imagine like those little pits you saw, but it's like 500 people instead of like 50. Like that's
what are the rules?
You pick up.
How does that work?
It's just you don't try to intentionally hurt anybody. You might get hurt. It's happened to me before. If somebody falls, you pick them up, you hug it out at the end, and that's that.
Yeah,
how do you know it's starting? Like, what is the we're doing?
Starts with one person, pretty much.
You ever just get so excited that you just like push your buddy as hard as you can?
Yes,
it's the same. Like,
imagine like dozens of people do that at the same time. Yeah, that's it. And I was explaining, it's like a giant game. You know when you used to play like keep the balloon off the floor? Okay, it's pretty much like that, except with people. Like you push around and stuff, but you see somebody falling, you catch them to keep going, and it's kind of a game of like, how long can we keep this going? It's a fun time. Yeah.
Couple of other notes that people may not know about. Ann Castle shared some of these. So shout out to local businesses. Metallica's private chef sought out and ordered vegetables from a local farm stand called Glade Road Growing. We're going to go ahead and share that article. I thought that was really, really cool. They have a private chef, reached out to a local group to source their vegetables for that, gave them a signed poster. Really awesome. They also went ahead and bought ice cream from Sugar Magnolia right in Blacksburg on Main Street. So Blacksburg local businesses fueling Metallica. And then one other thing that I thought was really, really cool. They had the Hokie bird that you see all around campus. They had one right outside of the locker room where I'm assuming, were they in like the team locker room? Is that where they were setting up?
Their green room? I'm not sure where their green room was, really.
I have no idea.
I think that's where it was. So they had a Hokie bird set up there, and they gave them a little one, probably like 3 or 4 feet tall, and they're actually bringing it with them for the rest of the tour, which I thought was really, really awesome. I didn't know if you guys had any other notes that you wanted to talk about from the concert per se, but let it fly if you had anything else.
My only note that I wanted to add is like a metal concert, you'll meet some of the nicest people you ever meet, and everyone is genuinely in a great mood. And so like we were tailgating with people who were like half and half Metallica, half Hokies. Everyone I was like standing in beer line, standing in bathroom line, super nice. I remember when I saw them in New York, it was the weekend after Beyonce's concert was there. And we were getting beer, and the lady who was pouring beer says, "Y'all are so much nicer than the kids were last weekend." We were like, "Oh, thank you. Thank you." It's generally like a really great time. And I think the idea of it and like wearing black to the concerts and like, the skulls and the crazy fonts and stuff like that can kind of scare people off. But in general, it's going to be some of the nicest, happiest people you meet, because that was such a big night for so many people. And yeah, it's awesome. So don't be afraid of it, because I've met some great people at metal concerts.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just echo that real quick. I've seen more fights at country concerts, rap concerts, and pretty much any other concerts and metal concerts. And at metal concerts or shows, people like purposely like hitting each other, but it's never a fight. And it's just like Sam said, it's just people are there for the same reason. People just want to, they might have some pent up energy. They sit at a desk all week. They're trying to get it out. That's me. I mean, that's just kind of, people ask why I'm so mellow. It's just because like, well, I get it out all out in the car in the mosh pit or writing music. So I mean, it's the truth. It really is.
I'll say this too. What was really cool, just the community part of it, and Anne alluded to this too. Like, it's a trying time. People are mad. There's a lot of disagreements. There's a lot of negativity out there in the world right now. And for all of those people to be together and be so happy in one place was truly magical. Is literally what it is, the only way that I can use to describe it. I was sitting up in the stands, and I think it was when they finished the fourth song and they took like the little break. They were moving the drums, and I turned behind me, and this dude, I'm telling you, he had long, curly, brown or gray hair, covered in tattoos, and we just looked at each other and just screamed yes and high-fived and hugged each other. It was just like, you're completely captivated by everything that goes on. And again, euphoric is the word that I keep using. People were making fun of me because a lot of the tweets on Sons of Saturday were like epic, iconic, euphoric, unbelievable, incredible. It's the only words that I could use to describe what we all got to take in.
Yeah.
Takeaways from the concert, just what you're leaving with. Sam, we'll start with you.
Yeah. Again, like I said, my spiel at the beginning. I'll also say that to me, and hopefully to people at Virginia Tech, this proves that Virginia Tech and Blacksburg can host events like this. I probably wouldn't recommend doing this all the time to this level, but like, Virginia Tech has a venue in Lane Stadium that has now been proven to be able to do this. Like, there is a proof of concept, and none of them will ever be this big. None of them. But if you were to have like one concert a summer or something at Lane Stadium that you put on like this, you could do it and it works. And that was my biggest thing, because I didn't go downtown. I'm too old for that. I've been going all day. But it's still standing, and that's a lot more than what some people thought. So there's that. Like
100%, Sam. I hope that this serves as a blueprint, and I hope that, and this isn't a shot at all, I mean, we all kind of feel this way. I hope the town is able to see, like, if you lean in and you make it possible to host events like this was a massive revenue generator for the town, a massive revenue generator for the athletic department. And if you're an artist or a growing artist in this area, and there are plenty of amazing artists that are from this area, 49 Winchester, Morgan Wade, you've seen what Morgan Wallen has done at Tennessee. Like, to put on events like this is a place where people will want to go. Again, you will never do anything like this again, because it's just the synthesis between Metallica, Virginia Tech, and Hokie Nation. But this is a blueprint, and that's why I'm so impressed with the job that Brad and his team did. There was nothing to look back on and say, well, we do it this way and we do it that. They completely pitched a no-hitter the day that baseball was invented, is basically what they did. So incredible. Brett.
Yeah, I think, echoing both you guys, I don't think I've ever had more of a perfect concert day, really. I've been to a lot of shows. Most of them are at night, but I don't think I've ever had more of a perfect day end in a perfect way from going to a show.
Can we pour one out for the weather? I mean, the weather was tremendous. The weather was tremendous.
I was so nervous, forever.
The weather was tremendous. The moon looked fantastic. And here's my last point, and I certainly hope that this lands correctly, and I'll start it with this. They did get on stage, and they did say, we're the first band to ever play in Lane Stadium, which is true. If you're thinking about a singular ticketed event, they are the first band to perform in Lane Stadium. But I do want to harken back to 2007, when Dave Matthews, Nas, John Mayer, they all played following the tragic event at Virginia Tech on 4/16. Now, what I want to say is, for the first time in my lifetime, Virginia Tech's name was in the epicenter of the national world. It was talked about everywhere. You can look at Barstool. You can look at every college football account. You can look at every major news publication. My mother was watching CBS in New Jersey this morning, and they're talking about the earthquake that happened in Blacksburg, Virginia, when Metallica goes down there. And it was so fitting that the band that played to help Virginia Tech heal the last time that they were in the national spotlight for a tragic, tragic event, the same band that brought the football team onto the field against ECU came back to Virginia Tech and catapulted Virginia Tech into the national spotlight for a completely different reason of positivity, unity. And it was a tremendous moment to be like, that's my school. I'm so proud that we're affiliated with this. And this was something that happened. It was deeply emotional, truly. And I cannot say enough positive things about everybody involved to make that happen.
Oh, I was teary-eyed at least twice. I mean, it was like truly a dream come true. Another thing that I kind of realized, but I didn't totally put together is there's a weird synchronicity with the number 25 in Virginia Tech, and there like always has been, but it's been 25 years of Enter Sandman, and they just so happened to come on the 25th year. And like, that's all I'm saying is like, there's
you can't write this stuff, man.
Going on with that, man.
You can't write this stuff. Any suggestions? My only suggestion is I would love to see some sort of, I mean, the way I was thinking about it is we have all of those jerseys that hang in North End Zone. I would love to see some sort of commemorative sign in there. Again, it comes down to how much Metallica wants to lean in. And I don't think you can ask anything more of Metallica for how they leaned in. You can see everything that Virginia Tech puts out, and Metallica should do this. It's like, credit to Metallica. They have like watermarked on the videos and everything. I would love to see if we could get, some sort of commemorative item or plaque or something in the stadium in there.
Yeah, I think I think that would be awesome. A rock would be the way to go.
The rock would be cool. I love the graphic that Hokie FB put
out. It's like Madison Square Garden will have like Billy Joel 87 and stuff like that.
Yep. Unbelievable. Thank you so much to Metallica. Thank you so much to everybody who came along. I think a person was looking to pick a fight a little bit, but they were like, respect all the fan bases that came out. This is a Charlottesville guy, Virginia fan who came to the concert. Thank you to everybody who came to Blacksburg for it. And we hope it'll certainly be a memory that lasts forever in these three guys' life. And man, what a special time. Guys, it was great sharing it with you. It was great recapping it. Can't wait to tell our kids, grandkids, everybody all about it. Man, I don't know what you did with your stuff, Sam. I don't know if everybody's gets to do that. He's got some cool screen effects thing going on.
I don't know. I guess it's magical, I guess. I don't know.
Guys, have an awesome weekend. Great catching up. We'll talk soon.
Go Hokies.
Go Hokies.